Hi, and welcome to another LRCC Soundbite. If you've watched the last few Soundbites, you'll know I've been talking about a man called David, who lived probably around 3,000 years ago. This is the same David as in the story of David and Goliath. It's the same David who would be king of Israel for about 40 years. We've thought about him as a boy, we've thought about who he was as he grew up, and who he was when he was king. Finally, I wanted to think about another important aspect of who he was. He was a worshipper of God. David's love for God is a theme that has come up several times over these last few weeks. And this week I thought I'd do something I don't normally do. I'm going to read a passage from the Bible for you. This is probably the most famous piece David ever wrote. It's been used, it's poetry, it's a song, and it can be found right in the middle of the Bible. It's known as Psalm 23. Now there are many different translations of the Bible into English. And if you know this passage, you'll probably remember a particular translation of it. I'm going to use a version not everyone will have heard before. It's from the contemporary English version of the Bible. If you know this psalm, then I hope this version will help you see it in maybe a slightly different way. Maybe bring out some aspect of it that you've not thought of before. If you don't know it, then please just enjoy the words and let them speak to you. You, Lord, are my shepherd. I will never be in need. You let me rest in fields of green grass. You lead me to streams of peaceful water, and you refresh my life. You are true to your name, and you lead me along the right paths. I may walk through valleys as dark as death, but I won't be afraid. You are with me, and your shepherd's rod makes me feel safe. You treat me to a feast while my enemies watch. You honour me as your guest, and you fill my cup until it overflows. Your kindness and love will always be with me, each day of my life, and I will live forever in your house, Lord. You know, those words are used in churches at many different times and many different occasions. They're words that remind us just how much God loves us. As David compares God's love to that of a shepherd, taking close care of their sheep. Wherever we go, God always goes with us, even in the very darkest and hardest places. And God blesses us. He treats us. That version said, showing us kindness and love that is never ending. David wasn't afraid to show his love for God in action. He didn't just write these things in private, but they were used in public worship of God. You know, when David had the Ark of the Covenant, which was the most special and sacred object in the whole of Israel, when he had that brought to Jerusalem, he joined in dancing and worshipping before it as it was carried. When David was in trouble and needed God's help, he would get on his knees and ask for God's help. David realised that he needed to keep God at the very centre of his life, whatever may be going on around him. And I think his story is a good model for us to follow. He didn't always get things right, and his life wasn't always easy. Even as king, he suffered from rebellions coming from even within his own family. But in the end, he was always loyal and true to his faith in God. And God stayed with him throughout everything that happened in his life. Our lives are like that, aren't they? Things don't always go right. And sometimes we wonder where God might be in those times. But I pray the words of that psalm I just read might remind us that whatever situation we find ourselves in, however pleasant or dark or hard or easy, God is always there and will always be there with us. We only have to ask him. God bless you. I'll see you next time.